Any question, or we can start?
Oh, we can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, fine. So I'll just share my screen. Yeah, so I have shared my screen. Okay. So we have seen payables key configurations in our last session. Okay. So what is that we have left is that there is one setup that we have left it. So that is not part of the basic configuration, but I'll also cover that part. Okay. So before that, I'll just explain what is that exactly. So now, so this is basically part of this invoice options that we have seen. Okay, so now I'll just go to this payable module, and here if you see, so I have this invoice options. Let me just change this to the US one. Okay, so we have seen almost most of these configurations. So one thing that we are left with is this one, the account derivation method. Okay, so now this account derivation method is something that to generate the account. Okay, so we call this as an account definition. Okay, transaction account definition. So what do we mean by this is that, so if I want to basically generate this account code combination by system, so there are certain transactions that system will take care. So for example, if I take my PO matched invoice, so this accrual account is copied from the source transaction, that is purchase order. Okay, so that is one kind of thing that we will do in terms of generating this account combination. So now this account derivation method, that what we are referring to is that for the manual invoices. So let's say I have a project related transaction that needs to be captured in the system. Okay. So now there are two things that might happen. So one is that I might get this transaction from the purchase order, and then I'll supply this to probably the project team, project accounting team. Okay, so this is one scenario. So for this scenario, I will not need this account combination generated because that is generated from the PO. So the second option is that I probably might create this expenses manually through manual invoice. I might create this as an invoice and I will send it to the project accounting module. Okay, so now, if I want to generate this account code combination for the manual invoice, so I can use this option called account derivation method. Okay, so the way that this will work is that this will work similar to your SLA configuration. Okay, but the screens are different. So that's the only thing. Meaning, we will give this condition. If this condition matches, let's say for instance, I have this particular supplier. So if this particular supplier is selected in the invoice screen, I wanted to generate this combination. So I can give this rules. Okay. So now there are key differences between the distribution set and this derivation rule. So distribution set is basically based on the selection, it is predefined one. Okay, so wherein we do not have any such criteria to generate the account, but we know that this is the account we wanted to select, if I am doing this particular transaction. So for example, I'm doing asset purchase. So I will have the standard distribution set. Okay. So the second thing that what I'm talking about is that the project related transaction for which I'm using this derivation rule. Okay. So there are two different things. So now what are the configurations that we will need? So before that, you will have to enable this transaction account definition. Okay. So the way this will work is that if this condition is matched, instead of giving the account code combination, I can just say derive accounts. So which will generate the accounts automatically. Okay, since we have already seen uh, the other setups, so I'll complete this configurations and then we will see the standard invoice and the payment flow. Okay, so for the payment part we haven't completed our configurations, it is only for the invoices that we have done. Okay, so I'll complete this setup and I'll show you the invoice, so how this account derivation method is used in the system, and then probably we'll see the payment related setups and we'll run payment batch. Okay, so
Hmm.
I'll just
I
say
don't.
save and close.
Uh,
Yeah.
what is the advantage of having this account derivation method here, Arun? Like in spite of we are having an SLA, right?
Yeah, correct. So now SLA, if you see, I'm not sure if you can use it for the manual invoices that is being created in the system. So that is one thing. And the another thing is that if you want to create this SLA, so you will have to create multiple components. But here it is just the two steps that we will have to enable. So first thing is that either the account rule or the mapping set. Okay, and then directly we will create one transaction account definition and attach it with the ledger. But whereas the SLA customization, so we have other components also to be created. So it's kind of an more setups involved in SLA, but this is a two-step process that you can enable.
And this is only will act only at the invoice level, right?
Correct. Correct.
And irrespective of what type of the invoice it is, debit,
Yeah. Correct.
credit memo, debit memo, invoice. Okay,
Correct.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And for manual invoices, SLA also is used, right?
Yeah, manual invoices are, that's what I'm saying. So manual invoice also you can use it. So based on the conditions that you can generate, but there you have 4 5 setups, right? But here you will not have much of the configurations.
Okay,
That is the
okay,
only thing.
okay.
Arun,
Okay.
after this configuration, will you also be walking us through in the transaction level also, no? Like
Yeah. Yes.
how the invoice and matching all that.
Yeah. I mean, you are referring to the P2P flow or different.
Now we are looking at the setup and the configuration side, no? So I'm
Correct.
also thinking on how it is on the transaction level, how these configurations are getting mapped. How do we map or how do we do that PO invoice to it comes to AP and then it comes goes to GL or no for PPM like that, right? The transaction level,
PPM,
user transaction.
no, PPM will not be able to cover it because there are other setups that we'll have to do it. So I'll cover the payable related transactions. Okay, so the
Oh,
flow wise, I'll cover the P2P flow, so that we will cover it. But integration with
oh,
project accounting, those things will not be able to do it. I'll do only the payables part of it.
okay. So the accounting at like when we say that pay at receipts or pay at approval kind of a thing, no? So that you
Mm.
will be showing us in a transaction level. How does it go also? No, please show that that kind because we are looking at the configuration level. I'm also looking at how does it goes to the transaction level also. Once after we are done, maybe if you could
Okay.
take us there also, I will be able to relate to this. Yeah.
Now that you need to check for the receipt approval and period and this thing, because that's what I'm saying again. So because if you see the reset accounting and these things. So for which I need to check this costing configurations also, because if I want to show those accounting entries, I will have to account this reset. Okay, because I'll have to
Mm.
run this costing and then I'll have to run this create accounting for reset and generate those reset distributions. Okay, so that part I'll have to check. We'll see. I'll see. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the accounting entry part I can tell you, but if you want to look at the accounting entries in the system, we need also the supply chain related configurations in place. Okay, so that needs to be
Mm.
checked. But the flow that will cover.
Flow, could you please cover, and how does the accounting happens? No, I am really bad. I don't know anything on accounting. If you could tell me how the which account, which kind of an account
Yeah,
type
that
it
I will.
is.
Yeah,
That
that I
that
will.
at least the structure of the accounting concepts also I am looking for.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So I'll just come down. So here, if you see, so I have one is this mapping set, okay, or if I want to use there, that is also possible. But before that, I'll create one mapping set, and I'll show you where we can use this particular mapping set. Okay. So basically, what exactly is mapping set, or why do we use this mapping set? Is it, so this I'm using it for rent expenses. Okay, just give a name called office rent. And here if you see, so we have three things. So one is that account combination, so which means that I have my company account that is 10, and then I have my department that is 100. Okay, so similarly, if I have multiple combinations, then I will have to give this account combination. But then if I want to generate it for a particular segment, I can give this option, wherein this will work only for a particular segment that I'm giving here. Okay. And lastly, the value set. The difference between segment and value set is that, so this value set could have been attached with multiple segments. Okay. So that's the thing. But usually it is the account combination or the segment that is used. So in this case, I'm taking segment. Okay. So here, if you see, so I'm giving this condition. Okay. So one thing is that input source. So input source meaning you're setting up your level of information that you want to capture in terms of putting the condition. Okay, so let's say here I'm saying it is based on the, so so these are the different event class. So here event class is nothing but your transaction. Okay, so in this case I'm taking invoice, and I'll take the supplier. Okay, let me try to take this one, the supplier number, and I'll say okay. So if this is the supplier number, then what is that I want to generate is what we are giving here. Okay. So here I'll select the year's business unit, sorry, the year's chart of account, and the segment that I'm trying to do this particular thing is for the cost center. Okay. Or I'll do one thing. So instead of this, I'll give this combination. Because if I create it as a segment, then I will have to create multiple uh, mapping set for that. So instead, I'll use this one to create it. Okay, so this is the condition that I have given, that is invoice supplier number, meaning meaning the supplier number that is selected at my invoice screen. Okay, so now I will have to give this number, so I'll just do a duplicate, and I'll take one supplier number. So in this case, I'll take advanced corporation supplier number. Okay, so that is the one that I'm going to use here. Okay, so this is the number. So I'll give this as my filtration criteria, and I'll give the combination. So if this is selected, then what is the combination that I wanted to generate in the system? So I will give this as the rent. Okay, so this is the account, that is office rent account is what I'm selecting. Just say save and close.
Can I
So the
add two
next step
conditions
is,
over here, Arun?
yeah,
If I want, I can even add. It is talking about invoice, right? So you're giving the debit entry. So can I give the credit entry also here, the mapping set?
no, credit entry usually it will generate from your supplier site or the common offense. It is taken from there, the liability account.
Yeah, but here in SL, it is an account derivation method, right? So that's what I'm
Right.
asking you. So can I actually give, if it is acting like an, hmm, uh,
No, yeah, I got your question. So for that, I will have to do at the SL level, but this is only for the purpose of this one, the debit line.
okay,
That is
okay,
yes,
okay. So this particular option, that whatever you say, it is to
yes,
how you wanted your debit entry to be generated at the invoice level for
yes,
different event
yes,
class. Hmm?
yes, correct, correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just create this one also. This. Okay, so we created this as mapping set. So I'm just selecting this option. So apart from that, you have the source and constant also. So source is when we will use this that for the project and the other information. So as I said, so for project case, what will happen is that, so if I'm selecting this project number, then what is the combination that needs to be generated? So now one point is that, so if I want to use this, so whatever my project number that I can see in the project selection screen, I'll show in the application. So where we'll give the project number. So based on that, if I want to generate this, so I can give this as a source. So whatever I select in the project number field, so that will be copied to my project segment if I have this project segment in my chart of account. Okay. But now here in this case, we have created it as a mapping set. So I'm just giving this one. Okay. And you will also see the constants. So constants when we will use is that if I want to say if this condition is not satisfied, I wanted to select or give a particular set of default values. So that is when I'll give this constant. So meaning that department could be 0 0, and then project could be 0 0, something like that, which is not kind of an applicable, not applicable, or the default value that I want to generate. Okay. So for this, I'll select this mapping set, and
Arun,
I'll,
can you
yeah,
just 1 minute? Can you just show me the value type? I just lost. You were talking something about the projects, right? So there were so
yeah,
many values in the value type. So
Yeah,
account rule, constant, mapping set, and source. So
yeah,
account rule. So you're talking about the rules. Account rule is if you pick up already existing one account rule, right?
correct,
Okay. Constant is one single value that you give.
correct.
Okay. Mapping set is now whatever we define, it will go pick up that mapping set.
Yeah,
Source is
mapping. Yeah, so the source is nothing but whatever the value that I give. So for this, I said I gave this project segment as an example. So now, if you see, so I have project number called 0011. Okay, so now in the chart of accounts, I will have my project as a segment. So for this segment, so whatever the project that I'm creating there in the project accounting module, so that will be created automatically here in this particular segment. So based on the validation that I have given. Okay. So now, when these values are same, so if I select this project number as 0011, so which means that I wanted to generate the same number in my account code combination for the project segment. So that is about the source, which means whatever the value that we are giving here in the project, so that will be copied to my project segment. So that's about the source.
okay. Okay. No, no, I will
Okay.
think through it.
Okay. Yeah. So just type this. So this is the one that we created, and this condition again I will not need it because this, if you see, so this is generate scheme. So you have multiple options. So we have this condition, but for the mapping set we have already given the condition. Okay, so that is based on the supplier number we have given it. So I'm not writing condition here. So let me leave this condition as blank. Okay, so I'll just say save and close. So finally, I will have to create this transaction account definition. So if I come down, so I have this. Okay, so I'll just say add, and here I'll just give. Okay, and chart of account, it is US chart of account. Okay, and this I'm creating. So here if you see, so we have two things. So one is that segment rules, and another one is combination. So the difference is that if I say segment rules, so as I said, if I want to give it for, so here we don't have the project segment, but if let's assume that this is our project segment, so then as I said, so we have given this rule based on source. So then I'll give this combination or this rule which we created only to this segment. Okay, but then this we created for the entire code combination. So I'll say account combination. So here I will have to give this as rent office, the one that we created just before. Okay, so now based on the lines, if I want to generate, so I can give. So I'm going to give or select item expense. So I'm just saying it is rent office. So if I'm going to use for miscellaneous lines also, so then I'll have to give it here or here. Okay, so now if you see here, so I have only one value that can be selected. So there, so now if I have probably for rent different condition, and then commission different condition, and then for the other miscellaneous expenses I wanted to have different combination, then there in the mapping set or there in the account rule I'll have to give multiple lines. Okay, so I'll just complete this and I'll show there. Okay, so it's just the line addition, but I'll just show there. Okay, so I'll just say activate. Yeah, so this has been completed. So we can see this is active. Okay, so I will go back to this one. the
So it will
account rule.
revalidate the slam once you say activate. Arun?
Yeah,
Uh, Once we click on activate, it means it will go revalidate the SLAM definitions.
activate, then this rule will be activated, which means we can use it or attach it to our lesson.
Because this is one condition that has been added for this particular ledger SLAM, right?
Correct.
So it is not that it goes and submits that validation program.
Validation program. Sorry, I couldn't get you. Validation
See,
program.
usually in SLAM, I mean, subledger accounting method, if you go change something,
Yeah,
right, you will have to go
correct.
validate it. So
Yeah,
only
yeah,
then,
that is, yeah, yeah, I got it. So that is not needed. So for this setup, so we have only two options that we will create. So one is this account rule and the other one is transaction account definition. So it's only the activation part that we'll have to do. So we don't need to run this program to activate this one.
mhm. So even if I create a mapping set, create a rule, and if I don't create define a transaction line definition, still
Okay.
the plan will be active and it can be used. It means it's
Yeah,
validated
yeah,
and it will be used.
yeah, correct.
Oh, okay. Then where is that integrity, Arun? Because now, uh, because that is one of the component of subledger accounting method, right? The
Yeah,
mapping
but
set, your transaction account definition.
yeah,
So
but
is it?
yeah, yeah, but running this program and using this option both are almost similar, right? Because if you run this program, what system will do is that system will validate and it will give you if the configurations are correct. So the activation is also the same process. If there is some error, it is going to stop us, saying the status is an error. So unless we clear that error, so we'll not be able to use it. So it's both are same, right?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I think I missed my question. I'll update it.
Your
Okay.
question is different.
No, I was thinking, I'm just trying to, it's been years since that I saw the SLAM definition form in R12. So,
Okay.
so when I go create for a particular event class,
Okay.
I pick them and I start giving an account mapping and everything. It means I'm introducing one new rule. But if I
Hmm.
don't finish that rule, okay, I'm leaving it incomplete. I'm just trying to recollect. Will it let me to validate
Okay.
that particular subledger accounting method? It will error out. In such scenario, here it is like only for invoice option for that particular event class. It is letting the system is flexible enough instead of me going through the entire setup.
Correct.
It is just picking up at the what I need to do only for the transaction account definition piece. It is letting me to do it, right. So which is
Correct.
at the journal line definition. We still
Correct.
have something called journal line definition in slang.
So journal slam. That's what again for this. We will not need those configurations
No, no,
because
no.
the
I'm talking. I know we are not picking up the whole configuration, but still it is the same structure, right? So in the journal line definition, for the event class of invoice, only for the debit entry, we are making these changes in payables module. It is letting us to do it, right? So,
correct.
so only that one piece I'm picking up, and I'm started doing the setup. When it is becoming incomplete, if I don't activate it, but there is something that some one line is introduced, my question was there must be like a lot of things like that. So if there is one line that is not being activated, but still the The slam will be in validation state, and it can be still be used across all the transaction.
No, if it
That was
is
my question. So
no, if it is incomplete, you will not be able to do it. Even if it is one line, so you will not be able to do it. So system will
okay,
consider this entire setup is incomplete and this rule will not work.
okay. So that's where it's important when I introduce a new mapping set or new rule, we will have to
Correct.
complete it at the transaction account definition level. So the activate
Correct.
means it goes and revalidate the entire slam. So
Correct. Correct.
as you said, it will throw the error if there is something wrong. Okay, got it. That's what I wanted to check. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so this is what I was saying. So it is just the same thing. So I'll just randomly open this. And here, if I want to give the second, third, and fourth, so I can give those values. Okay. But it's the same thing. So using that, we'll map to this particular accounting method. Okay. Yeah. So so this is the one. So the last setup that I will have to do is that, so I'll have to attach it with the ledger. Okay. So I'll go to this subledger accounting options. So wherein I'll search for the payables and okay, and I will attach this transaction account definition to the payable module. So the ledger that we are working with is yes, primary ledger. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, and this is payable, and here under the accounting options, so we'll have this transaction account definition. So I'll just attach the one that we created. One minute, and just check why this is not appearing in the list. Which set of accounts? Okay. Oh, sorry, it is the paid tag that we gave. I mean, the name is different. So we gave that naming convention for the account role, but here I think we gave three. Okay. Okay. So I have attached this. Okay. So now I'll go to the system and I'll try to create one manual invoice. Okay. So I'll show
Mm,
the way.
Arun, 1 minute,
Yeah.
1 minute. Can you just go back to that manual subledger
Okay.
option?
Okay. 1 minute. Yeah.
So, how do I search my accounting method here?
1 minute. Sorry, what is the question?
How do I search my accounting method here? Approval method.
So accrual method we are not selecting here. So it is the ledger specific that we are attaching it here.
So if I'm attaching it for lesser specific, I can create only one account derivation or I can have multiple account derivation rules.
No, only one account derivation rule.
Oh, so this transaction account definition, account derivation method, if I choose, then there can be only one value. I can't have multiple lines. If I have to have multiple lines, then I have to go to the SLA and then create it.
Yeah, so the way this will work is that, so let's say if I want to have multiple rules that needs to be created, so then I will have to give the rule number line. So in single rule, I'll have to say it is for rule number one, I mean for this combination one, two, three. So I'll have to attach multiple lines there, okay. So now this will build my entire combination that needs to be created for this project. So now
Uh,
this one, yeah,
uh, no,
or
when you say in the mapping set, if I have multiple lines, then
yeah,
in the create account rule, for each mapping set rule, I will create an account rule.
1 minute. I'll just open the screen and I'll show you.
No, go back to the rent office, whichever we are creating, the pay date that you used, right? You can go there. We will not
Which,
create new now. Yeah.
I mean, which screen you want to see?
No, we use something called pay date, right? From where did we use that? We were all using rent office, isn't it? We created
Yeah,
something
I mean,
rent office.
yeah. So first
Uh,
we created mapping set and then we created the account rule. So you're referring to the account
okay,
rule?
go to that rent office because now we were discussing about multiple
Okay,
line in the mapping set, right? So we can go you reuse of whatever we created. The
okay,
rent office steps it shows in the last line.
okay.
Okay. So here, if I have to use multiple lines, how do you use the multiple lines here?
Now here I'll not be able to use it, right? Because this I have already created it.
So I cannot add to it now.
Yeah, at this point we won't be able to add it. So if I want to add it, so I will have to create the second mapping set.
Okay, once if I create a rule and attach it to the thing, the transaction account definition, I won't be reuse. I won't be able to edit any of this line here.
Yeah, you cannot edit. So if you see here, so here I don't have even the option of adding it. So this I can add it. So meaning if you want to add multiple invoices and these things you can do it, but this condition you cannot add. So to add the
Okay.
condition, we'll have to go with a new mapping set only.
Okay, create a new mapping set. I just wanted to see how this multiple line,
Okay.
because this multiple line I was thinking it is used
Okay.
at expense lines or miscellaneous action or freight account, all different types of your distribution line type, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I was thinking it will go create a mapping set.
Okay.
Can you requery the pated otherwise? Wherever
Pay
you
type.
requery, you attach something called pated, right? From where did that
Yeah.
come
Correct.
from?
Okay.
But my understanding was correct, right? The mapping set, the lines for the source, if I have multiple lines, the each one I can
Yeah.
create a account rule, and then I can associate it in my transaction account derivation, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Correct.
okay, okay. So where did we see the pay it?
Yeah, on one. Yeah, this is the one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it now. So how much ever I wanted to. So here, if I have to have this painted in the rent office for the, if I wanted to have multiple suppliers for that particular source, I can have multiple suppliers added, and then the create accounting. I will have to look for each supplier, and then if I come and associate it here, so this
Yeah,
transaction account definition will be at the higher end. Okay, got it.
yeah, yeah. So this second mapping set also, so if I wanted to give new condition, so let's say I don't want to use this condition based on supplier number, so I wanted to give, let's say based on the business unit. So that's when I'll go for new mapping set because I will not be able to use that condition. So for that
So
reason,
then
I'll
I
give,
will have to recreate everything, the old conditions also, because if I'm for certain things I wanted a business unit, the source, and I certain things I want the invoice number. So if there
yeah.
is any change in that level, then we will have to go recreate the entire mapping set, create rule, and then come and give the account definition rules for payables, and then I go map associate at the ledger level.
Like the entire one we don't need to do it, but it's about creating this mapping set, and I will have to give a new one. So here if you see, so I'll just open the one that we created. Sorry. Yes. So here if you see, so let's say this I have given it for rent, so tomorrow I want to give it for commission, so I will have to create new mapping set to derive based on the business unit. Okay, so there I'll say business unit, and in the output section, so I'll give this is the output, that is the commission account that I'll give in the output. Okay, so after doing that, so what I will do is that, so I will create a new one. So again the mapping set, but this mapping set will not be the same. Here I'll say it is for the commission expenses. So this is the only thing that I will do because this rent office I have already associated with my transaction account definition and to the ledger as well. So now the addition would be creating this mapping set and associating with this setup.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I will be still able to use the same account rule definition edited for
Yeah.
all multiple conditions. Only thing. So if I have to have additional source, then I create a new mapping set and then I come and
Correct.
associate it here. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay. Thank you. What is this bracket used for here in condition rules?
Sorry, what is?
In condition rule number one condition, we have something called insert source and or operator.
Okay, yeah, this is nothing but how I wanted to give the condition. It is the same thing. So let's say I'll just say this is constant. Okay, I'll just give some random account. So this is again the same thing what we have given there. So that is source is nothing but what is the filter that we want to use. So I'll just say payable, but there we had the option of searching for a particular field, but here I'll have to drag down and select the field that I'm looking for.
So I should know the table or the column name.
The column name.
Mm.
So just I'm saying this. Usually it's not for the control that we will use, but if I want to keep, so let me say this is equal to, and then here whatever the uh,
Look, you just
this,
select supply side. It will be there in invoice column, right?
yeah, we can say
Uh,
the supply side also. 1 minute, I'll just take that.
oh, it is too. It will drag on. Okay, fine. Then select invoice date. I saw something called invoice date.
Yeah,
Excuse me. I thought we can select it.
okay, I'll just take
Uh,
this one for now. So it's
mm,
just the uh, value that you'll give. Okay. So here you can give the amount. Okay. So in the quotation. So let's say this is 1,000.
mm,
So if it is amount, usually it is between, but in this case, I'm taking
mm,
this one. Okay.
mm.
And if I say validate, so this will validate. So, so I think this format is incorrect.
Okay, so that's okay. So this bracket there are thing, right? What for that? It is just it will be the SQL query that we will have
Yeah,
to
correct.
do. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got it. Yeah, go ahead. No problem.
yeah. So, yeah, so that's about this rule. So we have associated with the ledger also. Okay, so now what we will try to do is that we'll try to create one invoice and we'll see how this account combination is generated. Okay, so I'm using this business unit, and the one that we used is advanced. Okay, so that is 1263. So I'll give this as the invoice number as well, and let's say 1,000. So now usually if you see, so these are the three options that we will have, but since I have enabled this transaction account definition also, so system is showing this option also. Okay, so now I'll say 1,000 and I'll say derive account, so which will basically derive the account code combination. So this is for the based on the supplier number that we have derived. So let's say I have derived based on the project information, but then I will enter this. Okay, document category. Okay, for January, I don't think I will be having the data. So let me try to create it on December. Okay, I'll just disable this one for time being, and I'll enable at a later point in time, because I think this enforce document sequence is given, but then there is no setup. So for which we'll have to do again this configuration. So for time being, I'll give this as no sequence. Okay, so this is the message that we will see. So which means that system will tell us that whatever the distribution combination that is already generated, so that will be overridden. So which means that, as I was saying, so for the project information, so here if you see, I have given the amount and I have generated this derive account. So now after this, if I enter this project information, that is project number, task number, I have given all this information. So now if I go back again to this option derive account, so based on the project selection that I have done, so it will derive again here. Okay. So in our case, so we have given based on this supplier site. So we don't need to do it again, but it is just the refresh that system will do. So if I update this information, whatever I have given, okay, so if I say derive account, so if that condition is matched, then system will generate this account code combination. Okay, so that is about the transaction account definition. Okay, so the others are the same thing. So you'll have your business unit and then the supplier. So supplier, I think we did not see it. So probably I'll show after this. Okay. So based on the one that we have created, okay, so we'll see here, and invoice number we'll have it in the invoice copy. Basically we'll have the invoice copy, so using that we'll create this invoice. Okay, so that is the number we'll give here, and then the invoice amount again we'll have this in the invoice copy. Okay, so this account, as I said, so we'll use this option to generate it. Okay, and then if you want to give your project information, you can give here, or if you want to give your asset information, you can give. So now if you see, so we don't have asset information that is added now. So if something is missing, you can go here, view, and if you see the column, so you'll have this one. So now whatever is been checked, so those are the ones that is enabled. So probably if you want to capture the asset category and the asset book, so you can enable these two options as well, so you'll get that there. So it is similarly for the
So
other
this
options.
enabling this column, it is at the each user level. Do we need to have a privilege to see that columns, or we can?
No, for this we don't need any privilege. So this
Mm.
comes as part of the invoice accounts payable invoice supervisor. So there
Oh,
you
okay.
will have option to either disable or enable this.
Oh, okay. View. It's similar like view or hide columns, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct. Okay.
And here there's something called reference. What is that? Distribution, reference, tax, purchase order, asset, project.
Reference.
Down, just below, above the column names, you have something
Okay,
in distribution.
okay. This one you're saying, I think. So this is nothing but your invoice line description.
Oh, okay, 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 got
So
it.
it is just the heading that is given by Oracle.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
they call
mm-hmm.
it reference, but it is the line description.
Okay, 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 got it. So, Arun, there is at the header level we have something called legal entity, right?
Yeah, correct.
So we are associating this invoice. At the operating unit owns the invoice, right?
Yeah, correct.
The
Operating unit. So it
then
is basically this transaction is captured at business unit level, but then
mm,
system automatically captures the legal entity information also. Reason being, so if I want to print this invoice, so I will not capture my business unit. I mean, in terms of India scenario, I'm saying. So I will not capture the business unit address, but instead I'll capture the legal entity address. So to take this printout or to take this copy, so I will have to print this legal entity also. So that's the reason Oracle has bought this legal entity here.
this is supplier invoice, right? So when
Yeah,
the
supplier,
supplier sends,
yeah, I understood. So supplier will give us this copy. So that is understood. But this purpose, so which we raise an service request also. So for which the Oracle's response is that, so to avoid or to bring this structure, that is to this ledger, to this legal entity, to this sorry, the business unit, we are creating this transaction. To have the structure, we are bringing this legal entity here is what the update that is given by Oracle.
mhm. So if that is the case, then in future I can even take the liability account with respect to the balancing segment, probably, right? Because you're associating the legal entity here. So the
Yeah.
entity, okay. So there we have the balancing segments given. So
Yeah.
I can draw some report on
Yeah.
the liability for each balancing segment. I'm just thinking it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Uh, Lavanya,
Yeah.
the header level you have different type of invoice type, right? I wanted to make sure because for Lavanya this all will be new.
Yeah.
I think it's grayed out now, so just wanted to
Yeah.
make
So
sure.
I'll yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see the other transactions as well. So the debit memo and credit memo. Okay, so I'll just explain first this invoice because this
Mm,
is the standard invoice that we get from the vendor for the other transaction like the debit memo and credit memo. So we have this matching lines also. So we'll see along with that. So what are the different kinds of transaction that we can create in payable module?
yeah.
Okay.
Then just invoice grouping also, because
Yeah.
all this little things she can know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just explain this screen before we validate this invoice. Okay, so as I was saying, so this is first thing that is business unit. Okay, so so now this business unit will tell us to which unit. Sorry, just give me 1 minute. Yeah. So I'll just explain this screen first. Okay, so before I validate this invoice. So now first thing is that so you will have your business unit. So business unit is nothing but a unit where we either incur the expense or we generate the revenue. So that is what in simple terms we are calling it as business unit. Okay. So now this particular expense is made to this business unit. Okay. So now this business unit could be your branch. So let's say I am into the business of sales transaction. So let's take an example of DMart. Okay. So now I have office in Anna Nagar. I have office in Velachery. Okay. So now this expense that we are incurring for the Velachery office. So I'll say this is for Velachery office. So that's the meaning of business unit. Okay. So supplier, of course, we know. So from whom we are purchasing this particular item or the service that we are getting from. Okay. So again, the site is nothing but supplier might have operations in multiple sites. So similar to our business unit, that is in Anna Nagar and the Velachery. So we might have option of creating it in, let's say, uh, uh, in Velachery we might have one office. In Nandanam we might have another office. So now here I'll select either the Nandanam or the Velachery office. Okay, so from where I'm getting the survey. So that's about the site. And legal entity is nothing but, so we have already seen, so this is nothing but the legal registration or the actual business that we have registered. So for this business unit, so this is the legal entity that we used. Okay. So now this invoice, so number is nothing but the invoice number. So this number will take it from the invoice copy. Okay. So from there, I'll be able to take this one. So I have taken this invoice number. Okay. And then the invoice amount. Okay. So then I have the type. So type is nothing but what kind of transaction that I'm creating in the system. So in this case, I'm selecting invoice number. Okay. So invoice is one type of transaction that I can create. So apart from that, I have also the debit memo, credit memo, and prepayment. So which will be covering in the next as part of next transaction as well. Okay. So before that, I just want to give us an information. So debit memo or credit memo will be in negative. So which means that this invoice I have created it. Okay. So for 1,000 rupees. But now I'll create this credit memo for let's say 100 rupees. So which will be negative. So now if I am going to pay this particular invoice, so for which I don't want to pay 1,000 rupees, I wanted to pay 900. So what I'll do, so I'll select both the credit memo and the invoice, and the net would be 900 because this is in positive 1,000 and that will be in negative 100. Okay, so which will give me the net payable, that is 900. So anyway, we'll see those things and we'll also run the payment batch, and by then I can show you those things. Okay, and then the prepayment is nothing but the advance that we capture in the system. Okay. So then on the right hand side, if you see, so we have this date. So date is nothing but your invoice date. So this date refers to the invoice date. And because here if you see, so this is your invoice header. So now if I say show more, so here I'll see the another date, that is accounting date. Okay, so accounting date is specific to the GL. So this is specific to the payable module. So that's what about it. And the payment term is nothing but, so when we are going to pay this invoice, so in 7 days or 10 days. So in this case we have said it is immediately paid. Okay. Yeah, and then if you see, so the liability account combination, so from where this liability combination is derived is that, so there could be three ways that I can derive this. So first thing, system will check at the supplier site. Okay, so if it is not given there, so then it will check in the
Sorry.
invoice. Yeah,
Where is the due date is given? Usually the due date will be there at the header level, right?
yeah, correct. So due date, we will have to go to this one called installments. So if I go to manage installments, So here I'll have this one.
Oh, okay. Can you just go click on that invoice action? I thought it's only whether you have validate, cancel, delete. So only that option I was thinking. So you have more things here. Calculate tax, validate, apply, apply, manage holds, account coding, approval. What is account coding?
So account coding is an option to again give this account code combination. So one such option that we used is, so based on the rule we have derived this account code combination. So another option that we have is that, so this will work something like an approval. So once this invoice is created, so I will not know what is the account that I wanted to give. So what I will do is that I'll send this invoice to probably the accountant. So now this accountant will review and he will add the account code combination. So once that is done, then the invoice will be validated. So instead of I give the account code combination manually, I'll send this invoice to someone else. So who will attach or give the account code combination. So that is account code.
So that is also part of a workflow, or it's a it is
Yeah,
part
this
of an
one.
invoice workflow, or it's a seeded functionality in Oracle. I say
No,
okay, data entry person, and then supervisor who goes and key in the account coding.
no, this is again the workflow configuration that we need to do. So it is in the BPM work list. So we'll have
Oh,
to see if this condition matches, then this will be routed to this person A, B,
okay,
C.
okay. So it is taken care at the BPM level. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. So this manage installment, right? So
yeah,
it is only at the header level. If I have multiple lines, it can I manage it at the distribution level also?
yeah. So if I have multiple lines, then I will have the line one, line two, line three. I mean,
Oh,
you're saying for the due date?
yeah, the due date installment
No,
option.
due
Because
date
if
it
I have
is basic. Yeah, so the due date is basically derived based on this option, right? The
payment
payment
terms,
term and the date. Yeah. So it will be one only, right?
no, where do I see the date? It says immediate. If I go choose something month end, it will get populated at the header level.
Yeah, I mean, this
Just
is
choose.
basically the current. Yeah.
If you choose
So,
different,
yeah. So if I change the state to some other date, let's say I'm
no, no, I'm
selecting this.
saying change the payment terms instead of immediate. If you change something
Okay.
else,
Okay. So I'll
end of
just
month,
select
end of month.
method. Okay, end of the month. Okay.
So even then, where will I have the due date?
Yeah, 1 minute. I'll just go to this one.
So the due date, to see the due date, it is always I need to come here in the manage installment and see the due date.
Yeah, due date it is here only we can see.
Oh, okay. Because if I have installments, then okay, okay,
Okay.
got it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I was saying. So about the liability account combination. Okay. So one thing is that the distribution will check at the supplier side. If it is not there, it is going to pick from the common options. Okay. So that is where basically this account code combination is generated. One thing. And so this would be the credit entry. So whatever we are seeing as liability, so it is nothing but the credit line. So now this is manual invoice, so we don't have any purchase order that is associated. So we will see this transaction also. So we'll try to give one purchase order and we'll create from the purchase order, and then we'll create the receipt, and then we'll try to match that purchase order with the invoice and we'll create. So that is different transaction. So this is without purchase order. Okay. So now to any invoice, so we'll have three lines or the three types that I can see. So first thing is that the header level information. So whatever we have seen, okay. Yeah. So one thing that I missed is this one, the document category. So for now, if you see, so we have disabled this option of enforcing the document sequence. So that's why we don't see the document category that is associated here. If I enforce it, I will have to select some document category. So now what exactly is document category? It is the unique sequence that we will generate in terms of creating the invoice, because this will use in terms of auditing. So if I want, so let's say this invoice number, if you see, so this is 56. So probably the next invoice that I will create might not be 57. So if another vendor, the second vendor gives the number as, let's say, 2210. So I'll not say it is 57, it is 2210. Okay. But then this sequence will be, if I have created it as 21. So the next invoice that I'm going to create will be 22. Okay. So that's the option about this. So which means that unique number that we are capturing here. Okay, so this is one thing. And then if I'm creating any foreign currency transaction, so I will have to give the rate, so for which we will have to give the rates, and then so it is similar to the rate that we uploaded in the GL module, but we will use that and we will create one foreign currency transaction. Okay.
What is inverse
So
conversion rate?
invoice conversion rate.
Inverse conversion rate. Okay.
Conversion rate is something, if I book this with USD, so let's say my functional currency is USD. So now if I create this invoice with INR, so this conversion rate is from INR to USD. So invoice is nothing but USD to INR. It is
Okay.
just opposite of the conversion rate. Okay.
So, where do we see the batch? If I have the invoice batch?
Invoice batch I can see here. We'll have something called invoice group. So this is what we are referring to, the batch.
Okay. So the additional information is DFF.
Yeah, correct. DFF.
Okay.
Okay, so these are all the information that we will capture in the header. Okay, and then coming to the line. So first thing is that I'll have the type. So this is what we have seen there. So whether we wanted to have it at the
We
item
used
level.
to have some bill to ship to information earlier, right? Something like that in R12 header.
Yeah, bill to and ship to, this is managed at the this level, the line level information. So if you
Oh,
see, we have this ship to information. Let me go here. Okay, so here these are all the
to
information
location.
basically used for taxation specific, but this bill to and ship to information is captured at the supplier creation level. So when we assign this particular site to this vendor, vendor site, if we are assigning to a particular business unit, then I will have the bill to and ship to option there. But then here, if you see, so I will see only the ship to location and the site information that I will capture at this level.
Okay.
Yeah. So here, if you see, so as I said, you can enable or you can show more number of columns or the fields. Okay, if you don't find anything here, So you can go here and you can check for the fields. So if it is product, you can check this. So project, of course, you'll have all the fields, but others like you can check here. Okay. So let's say here, if you want to see the item also, so you'll have to go here and enable these two options. To if so, this is applicable only if we match the purchase order. Okay. So for the other ones, we will not have this. Okay, so now, so in terms of description or the narration, so narration is used to capture the more information of this particular transaction. So usually accountants will capture uh, those information, so which can be captured at the header level and also at line level. Okay, so that is just the field used to capture more information. Okay, and then your combination which you can use. If you are not using this combination, you can use this distribution set. Okay, so these are related to your taxation. So based on this condition, tax will be generated. Okay, and then your purchase order and the asset information. So if you have those information, we can give. So then the project detailed information, that is project number, task, expense, all those information. Okay, so then finally the distribution. So this is the third level of information that we'll capture in the invoice. Okay, so now here again you will have this amount, accounting date, and the distribution. Okay, so let's say I have created this as line number one, but then I wanted to distribute into two distributions, so I can create it as a Q1. Okay, so that's the option of having this. So similar to your line description, you will also have your distribution level description. Okay, so that's the thing. So we should make sure that this balances, that is the header amount, the line, and the distribution. Okay, so which you can check using this option. So if you see something in remaining amount, which means this is unmatched, so we'll have to make sure that the balance is, or the amount is matched.
Arun, at the header level, can we see the total tax amount?
Yeah, so the header level is always with tax amount. So which means that my tax is 1,100. So I'll say header as 1,100. So here I'll say 1,000. And now if I count this tax, so I will have the tax amount as 100.
So
So
there
in
will
this
not be
case,
different column at the header level to say invoice amount, tax amount, and total amount.
no, there will not have different this thing. So the segregation is made at line level. So here
Oh,
I'll have the base amount, and here I'll have the tax amount, and the total will be at here. Okay. So here if you see, so there is a difference in amount because what I have entered is 1,000, which means that without the tax amount. Okay, so I'll just copy this amount and put it here and save this. So now if you see, so it should say it is matched. Okay, so if you see, so this is matched.
so if you go click on edit tax, it will let me to do it. It is comes with the I should have an
Yeah,
extra privilege for editing the tax, or
yeah,
it gets
yeah, it
defaulted.
will allow to edit the tax.
So for this function, do I have to have an extra privilege here?
No, we don't need extra privilege. Again, this comes with accounts payable invoice supervisor.
So if you go just put 35 here for
Yeah,
the first time,
okay.
it gets overridden the tax engine.
Yeah, so this rate will get adjusted. So I'm not sure whether we will be able to see here, but at the at the report specific, I mean in the backend tables. So if I see this, so this rate will be adjusted. So this amount remains 35, but the rate will be probably more than this, not exactly the 3%, 3 point something like that, because the standard rate that we have given is 3, but then the amount is different. So this rate will be adjusted.
Hmm. So my question is like, Usually we cannot override the tax engine, right? Then I have to make my rules change accordingly, isn't it?
Yeah, so but there are certain cases that in terms of precision and these things, so there is a request to have this as an editable field. So for that reason, so this amount will be basically generated based on the tax rule that we have written. So that will generate. But if I want to edit this amount, then I will be able to edit this amount also.
Then if any user, if I don't have an extra special privilege, all users have, supervisors have this data entry person also should be able to see whether the tax is calculated properly, right?
Correct.
So in that case, if they can go and edit the tax by mistake, then it is not, there's no integrity, isn't it? So should I have to enable some approval workflow saying, okay, it has been tax rates have been overridden, what is being generated by the system?
Now for this, we will not be able to set the approval for flow. So
Mm-hmm.
if this needs to be verified by some person, and I don't want to give access to this edit access, then I'll have to do a custom role and attach it to this user who's going to create this invoice.
So there is an
So
extra privilege for this, right? To get
yeah,
this edit tax.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And also,
So
because my question, one is privilege, that is clarified. Thank you. My question is here, like if anybody can go override the tax, it becomes very rigid, right? Because if I say I use this tax engine, it goes picks up with the regime, tax rule, and everything, and I go change this amount. Where is that integrity, right? Because
yeah,
the invoice is, as you said, it is 1095, and even at the header level, I don't specify the tax amount separately: invoice amount, tax amount, and total amount. That's how we
yeah,
used to have it, right? So now that is not there. It is just giving you the one wholesome invoice amount. So in that
yeah,
case, if by mistake the users or anyone who go changes the tax, edit the tax, then
yeah.
how do, as an account payable user manager, how do I actually go verify it? Um, is there any report that I can pull, a serial report saying that, okay, the tax is being overridden in this particular invoice or something like that? How do we
No,
actually go audit it, right? The audit
yeah,
trail. How do we actually
yeah.
find?
Yeah, so for this, we don't have something called a report, but if I want to basically set the audit trail so that we can do it, so we have this option of enabling the audit trails, which might have some performance issue. But if I wanted to have this feature, so which means that this system is going to check the complete document, so complete document in the sense this particular invoice. So now if there are, let's say, 100 invoices that is created in a day, so this audit trail is going to validate all those 100 invoices and going to tell us the logs. So if it has changed something, so it is going to say this is the change that system has made. I mean, this particular user has made. So it will capture. I mean, this update, this is not specific to this, but if I want to basically track as in this thing at the smaller level, I'll be able to do it using this one. So this is similar to the EBS. Okay, so where we have this about record, so we can see this. But then if I want to have the detailed information, so what was the amount and what was the amount that has been changed. So for this, I'll have to enable this what do you call the audit trail in order to understand what is the change exactly that has taken place.
Oh, that is difficult, right, Arun? Because in a bigger organization, when there is when we are overriding the tax rate, and if
Yeah,
this is not being controlled, then it's difficult, right? Somewhere, if audit trail, obviously, it will go hit a performance, and if
yeah,
there is a huge data, and when I say for small companies, okay, but if there's a huge company, there'll be thousands of invoices coming in for a day, so I
yeah,
cannot go, which will have an hit my performance. So in that case, there should be somewhere alert report or all that. It should be a custom. There's no seeded report that we can go see. Okay, fine, tax has been overridden for this for such and such invoices.
Yeah, the standard report will not give
Or if
us.
there is any option, I go say I cannot go edit the tax. There is no thing,
Yeah,
right? There is no.
yeah, that's what. I'll have to handle at this level only, the role level. So I'll have to do a custom role and attach it to this user. But then if I give the standard role, accounts payable invoice supervisor, he or she will be able to edit the task. So in that case, I'll have to create a custom role and remove this privilege, and and I give only the option of reviewing this task that is generated by the system, because there is one project where we got this request to edit the tax, and the other project we got the input that we don't want to edit this tax, we wanted to just see what is the tax amount that is generated by the system. So there are two scenarios. So it is specific to the business, but if at all there is a need that I don't want to edit this, so we'll have to remove this privilege and give it to the user. So if we want to do it, maybe we can use the standard role also.
Okay, so it's either give it or take it. But if there's something is made that at data level, if some data have been changed, we won't be able to take it
Yeah,
in the serial report. We will have to build our own custom report
yeah,
or
correct.
alert or something. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Can I do a BAP alert from here for
Alert
this?
from here, when that
This
involves the past configurations, because this we are talking about the source configurations, but if I want to trigger the alert, so that becomes the custom component. So the custom components will be created in the POS application as an R. I'm not sure because this alert composer is there, but the alert composer will not work for this option. So
okay.
here I'll go to pass and write the custom rule there. Okay. So I'll have to link with this page. So when I do this change and save or submit, so then I wanted to trigger this alert. So using this bursting, I can do that. So that would be completely the customized solution that we can give, but that is basically the POS component that we'll have to build.
Okay, so for the pass component, then the customer, the client, they will have to go pay more for it for this particular subscribe it for particular usage.
Yeah, so they will get kind of an email notifications also. So
Mm-hmm.
this notification will say, so what was the actual amount that system has generated, and what was the change that this user has done.
So we have this BA publisher, right? So there,
Correct.
if we have a client who wanted this, so there we can go tell the team to go build an alert, and we will have to let Oracle know that we are using this functionality. So they will charge us. We will have to subscribe for the email notification or just to develop it at development of the alert itself.
Yeah, we'll have to develop the alert itself because
So
this
even
VA
for that,
publisher
the
is
client will be charged from Oracle, or the client can go build the alert, but to use it and get it in the, I mean, record it. I mean, how do I say? Associate it as an alert in ESS job, and then get an email to trigger an email. Do I need to get a subscription from Oracle for that, or I have to do get the payment for both developing the alert and also registering it or deploying it as an alert and then getting my email trigger? I have to pay for both. How does it happen?
no, this will work in a way that pass subscription. So if I have pass subscription, I will
Mm.
also have the Apex subscription. Okay, so it is our this thing a technical solution. Whether I'm going to take this application composer, or I'm going to take this entire new development that I'm going to create. So in this case, as I said, so we'll not be able to use this application composer or the alert composer. So I'll have to use this pass subscription. Okay, so this is separate one. So it is similar to your integration. Okay, so where I'll have access to create new custom application itself in the past application. So that is about it. So I will have to develop the entire workflow there, and I'll have to say this report. So this report will be created in the VA publisher. So this VA publisher and the bursting. So bursting is basically to send the email. So for this, I don't need pass application, but for this alert to be triggered and this development. So based on this one, if I want to write rule, so for this alert alone, I will need this pass application, for which I need this pass subscription.
Okay, so it mean to say the code to write the code, it will be done at the database level, right?
Correct.
So for that, I need a pass subscription to develop the code.
Correct.
Okay, because I'm completely functional, so I'm trying to understand how this architecture work for me. So probably it might be a silly question, but I don't know. That's why. To develop the code, I need the pass subscription. Then I go
Correct.
and then I can go build it as a report in BIP.
Yeah.
And then all this it comes with a seeded one, right? Because
Yeah.
right now with SaaS itself, simple report I can do, and then I can do the bursting, which is the email
Correct.
thing I can do. But that is part of SaaS. But to
Yeah.
develop such codes, I need. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Because similar to EBS, so we don't have this alert and this thing even for the prepayment. If you remember, so
Mhm.
you might be knowing it. So for the prepayment, if there are any open prepayments in the system, so system will give us the alert, and also you can do this personalization for your requirement. So let's say this balance is low, and based on this condition, I want to show the alert. So system will show alert in the EBS, but
Mm.
here this alert is not shown here. So which means that, so for the multiple developments, so we have used this past development, because here even for the prepayment it will not show. So we will have something called an bell icon, so which means that there is advance that is present for this particular supplier, but then it will
Oh,
not show something like a pop-up. So pop-up is not possible in Oracle Fusion. So for which we'll have to use this bursting, and based on the requirement, we'll have to take this pass application for the development.
okay, got it. Okay, okay, Arun. Arun, I think Lavanya dropped. Uh, can we
Okay.
continue? Yeah, next week, because for me it is all
Sure.
like a query and a question and answering session, but for her I'm not sure like whether she knows a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
terms that you're explaining, right?
yeah, yeah, sure.
Can we pause now?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. We'll pause now, and we can start next week.
Okay, okay, thank you, Arun, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.